Breaking: Yoo Yeon-seok and Chae Soo-bin's shared drink sparks dating rumors. What really happened behind that one casual moment? A single can of soda, a shared laugh. Internet caught fire overnight. Yoo Yeon-seok and Chae Soo-bin, co-stars known for their subtle chemistry, were spotted sharing a drink, and fans can't stop talking. Just friendly banter? Or something more intimate hidden beneath that effortless smile? Let's uncover the truth behind the viral one-can moment that has everyone guessing, right here with Red Carpet Revealed. It started with a sound, laughter. Not the kind that fills a stage or rings from a script, but something softer, spontaneous, unplanned. In another world, it would have stayed private. But someone pressed record. And now the world wouldn't stop watching. At exactly 2:47 p.m. on a windy Thursday afternoon, a 13-second clip hit the internet. The camera was shaky, the angle imperfect, a handheld phone capturing two people sitting on a film set bench. Yoon Seok, the actor known for his calm demeanor and gentlemanly charm, a can of soda toward Chae Soo-bin, the actress who had spent the last 2 years dazzling audiences with her radiant realism. She laughed, shaking her head, but he insisted. Took the can, sipped, then passed it back. That was it. 13 seconds. No dialogue. No touch beyond the shared aluminum between their fingers. But within an hour, those seconds became a headline, and by evening, a global talking point. The first article appeared on a small gossip forum. Yeon-seok and Chae Soo-bin spotted sharing a drink, something brewing behind the scenes. Within 10 minutes, it had over 10,000 comments. Screenshots spread like wildfire across X, TikTok, and Naver Cafe. Tags bloomed: Seung-min, one can love. Caught between takes. Some fans celebrated. Hearts exploding in the comments, they're so cute together. Others mourned, he promised us no distractions before his next drama. And a few whispered darker things, publicity stunt. Always is. By nightfall, every tabloid had its version of the story. The agencies stayed silent. And in silence, imagination did the rest. In downtown Seoul, newsroom lights burned past midnight. Editors argued over angles, interns refreshed social feeds every 30 seconds. Get a reaction, someone barked. From anyone on the set. But the set was locked tight, no leaks. No witnesses willing to talk. The video's uploader had vanished, deleting their profile after claiming, "I didn't think it'd blow up like this." And yet it did. Because it wasn't just about a drink. It was about the story everyone wanted it to tell. The rumor fit too perfectly, two attractive leads. Undeniable on-screen chemistry. Quiet personalities that invited mystery. For fans who had long shipped them since their first collaboration on Days of Bloom. This was destiny unfolding in pixels. Others, it was betrayal, an emotional disruption in the illusion that idols belonged entirely to the audience that adored them. Chae Soo-bin's fan cafe shut down for 24 hours to control chaos. Yeon-seok's management issued a one-line statement at 9 a.m. the next morning. Close colleagues who share a friendly rapport. But by then, it was too late. Once the internet decides on a narrative, it rarely gives it back. 3 days later, the pair appeared in public for the first time since the clip, a press junket for their new drama Sweet Mirage. Cameras swarmed the lobby long before the event began. They finally arrived. All eyes went straight to their hands. No rings. No touches. Just distance. Smiles. Still, when she adjusted her microphone and he instinctively helped steady it, the crowd gasped as if witnessing proof. Reporters shouted questions across the room. Are the rumors true? Was it just a friendly gesture? Are you in love? Neither answered. Yeon-seok leaned forward, speaking slowly. We're grateful that people love the drama and our chemistry. But what you saw was a private moment between two colleagues during a long day of work. Nothing more. It was the kind of denial meant to calm a storm. It only gave the wind something new to chase. Because his eyes, kind, uncertain, maybe even protective, told a story words refused to finish. By the end of the week, memes flooded social media. One edit played their soda-sharing moment in slow motion with romantic background music. Another exaggerated their expressions into a mock movie trailer. Coming soon, one can, one destiny. Somewhere between humor and obsession, the line blurred. Soo-bin stopped updating her Instagram. Friends unfollowed her quietly to protect themselves from fan investigations. One stylist posted, then deleted. A story showing the two rehearsing lines late at night. Caption: they really do work hard together. The post reappeared on gossip pages as they really do spend nights together. Context was dead. The story had already chosen its shape. Inside her agency's office, the mood was brittle. Soo-min sat across from her manager. The table between them scattered with printed headlines. They're turning it into something it's not, she whispered. Her manager sighed. They always do. We'll handle it. By denying it again, she asked. Or by pretending I don't exist? He didn't answer. Across the city, Yoon Seok had the same conversation. His PR team rehearsed every sentence of a potential follow-up statement. Don't be defensive. Don't joke. Don't look too serious, they advised. He smiled faintly. So basically, don't be human. That night, he sent a message to Soo-min. Ignore it. I'm sorry this happened. She replied. It's not the first rumor. But it's the first one that actually hurts. Weeks passed, and still the clip refused to die. Uploaded a close analysis on YouTube, claiming to read their body language frame by frame. Look at the way he glances at her after she drinks. The narrator said. That's affection, not acting. Another video titled The Truth Behind the Can racked up 2 million views in 2 days. In one interview, a host tried to corner Seung-ho with a playful tone. So, who bought the soda? Laughed politely, then replied. Maybe Faye did. The internet exploded again. The agency could no longer contain it. They announced an emergency press conference, promising to clarify misunderstandings. Fans camped outside the venue overnight. When the doors opened, the flashbulbs were relentless. Yoon Seok arrived first, neat, composed, but visibly exhausted. Chae Soo-bin followed 10 minutes later. Hair tied back, dressed in white. They didn't sit together, but their presence in the same room was enough to make the air hum. Mr. Yoon, a reporter began. You admit you and Ms. Chae share a romantic relationship? He exhaled softly. No. We're just colleagues. A second reporter asked. Then how do you explain the intimacy in the video? He hesitated for half a breath. Times, he said slowly. A small gesture looks bigger through the lens of curiosity. Murmurs rippled through the hall. Min remained silent until the final question came. Do you regret that moment being filmed? She looked up, eyes steady. No. It was honest. Whatever people saw. It wasn't performance. For a second, the room forgot to breathe. Then came the blinding lights again. The shutters clicking like thunder. That night, fans argued endlessly about her statement. Was she defending him? Confirming something? Hinting at truth? Every pause, every inflection was dissected. An anonymous insider leaked that their agencies had forbidden them from seeing each other off set. Another claimed they'd already grown closer after the scandal. The internet wanted a love story. So it wrote one, with or without their consent. Weeks turned into months. New dramas aired, new controversies emerged. And slowly, the story faded. But not completely. In whispers. In comments under unrelated posts. In interviews where their names appeared in the same sentence. When Sweet Mirage premiered that winter, critics praised their chemistry again. The tension feels real, one wrote. Like two people pretending not to remember something. Yoon Seok smiled through the press tour. Polite but distant. Soo-min answered questions with practiced calm. Every time their eyes met on stage, the cameras flashed twice as fast. By the final episode, ratings hit record highs. Fans called it the most emotional ending of the year. But for those who looked closer, the emotion didn't end when the credits rolled. It was still there, in the pauses between their laughter, in the silence they never explained, and in the soda can that had become both symbol and curse. As one columnist wrote in the Seoul Mirror, a single can, passed from one hand to another, became the most expensive moment of honesty the industry has ever seen. And perhaps it was. In the end, the story wasn't about what really happened that day. It was about how the world decided what it wanted to see. The storm didn't end, it just moved off screen. When the final episode of Sweet Mirage aired, it didn't rage or cheer. It sighed. Drama that had once launched 1,000 headlines had now become memory. But for Yoon Seok and Chae Soo-bin, echoes were still everywhere, flashes of camera lights that lived behind their eyelids. Half-remembered laughter replayed by strangers on repeat. A month after the finale, Yoon Seok disappeared. His agency called it a creative break. Fans called it retreat. He was last seen boarding a flight to Okinawa, alone, carrying only a notebook and a guitar. Soo-min stayed. She went back to filming variety shows, smiling on cue. But the quiet between segments was deafening. People didn't ask directly anymore. The question lived behind every glance: was it real? She'd gotten used to answering with silence. One evening in February, a journalist named Lee Dae-yeon, who had covered their scandal from the beginning, received a plain envelope with no return address. Inside was a single photograph: two people walking through a market in Okinawa. Faces half hidden under masks. Hands almost, but not quite, brushing. There was no caption. No date. Just one phrase scrawled on the back: sometimes quiet is safer than truth. Dae-yeon never published a photo. For once, she decided the story could rest. Meanwhile, in a small cafe near the Okinawan coast, Seung-ho kept his promise to rest. He spent mornings watching the tide and afternoons filing notebooks with thoughts he didn't intend to share. The world wants clarity, he wrote one night. But feelings are weather, always changing, always misunderstood. He didn't call Soo-min. Not at first. But he thought about her every time he saw a soda can in the store refrigerator, silver, cold, shining under fluorescent lights. And, one evening, his phone buzzed. Name lit up the screen. "Are you okay?" "Learning to be," he replied. "Can we talk?" He stared at the message for a long time before typing back. "If you want to talk as people." Headlines: yes. A week later, she flew out quietly. No one knew. No photos leaked. It was as if the world had granted them invisibility as a kind of apology. When she arrived, the sky was bruised purple with sunset. He met her at the pier. For a moment, they just looked at each other, 2 years of noise and absence collapsing into a single, silent second. "You look tired," he said. "You look free," she answered. They walked until night swallowed the sea. No scripts, no cameras, no angles, just two voices finding each other again. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked finally. "The rumor. The can." He smiled faintly. Maybe it was the first honest thing either of us ever did. The next day, a tourist recognized them at a distance. By evening, photos appeared online again, blurred, harmless, almost gentle. For once, the comments were kind. "They look peaceful." Maybe it was real all along. Leave them be. And the world did. Back in Seoul, the industry moved on. New stars rose, new scandals bloomed. But every few months, someone mentioned the one can story as a turning point, when the public began questioning its own appetite for intrusion. Critics called it the soda effect. PR agencies studied it in seminars: how to survive the age of viral ambiguity. One magazine even ran a headline: "Honesty becomes scandal, lessons from Seung-ho and Soo-min." Neither of them commented. But those who knew them said they'd grown quieter, more deliberate. Years later, they returned to acting in separate projects. Fate, or marketing, put their dramas on rival networks airing at the same hour. Commentators dubbed it the Battle of the X-Rumor Leads. Both shows premiered. Something unexpected happened: viewers tuned into both. Ratings soared not from rivalry but nostalgia. People missed them, not as gossip, but as artists. In one late-night interview promoting his drama, Ho was asked, "Do you still talk to Chae Soo-bin?" He smiled. "Sometimes." "Work? About life?" The interviewer pressed, "Was the rumor ever true?" He looked into the camera, his gaze steady, and said, "Some stories are too beautiful to confirm." The clip went viral again, but this time, the tone was different. Gentle. Respectful. As if the world had finally grown up. Later that year, he published a collection of essays titled Between Takes. It wasn't about fame or love, it was about silence, perception, and how truth bends under attention. And stood out to readers. The more people watch you, the harder it becomes to see yourself. Critics praised it as poetic and raw. Fans wept. The dedication page read only, "For the person who stayed quiet when the world shouted." Meanwhile, Soo-min reinvented herself. She started an independent film about a woman haunted by rumors, her performance so personal it left audiences breathless. When she won Best Actress at the Blue Bell Awards, she said, "Sometimes we're forced to explain what should only be felt." I hope this story reminds us that empathy is stronger than curiosity. Yoon-seok was in the audience, sitting 3 rows back. He clapped the loudest. Cameras caught it. The internet noticed, but this time, nobody twisted it. The image became a symbol of grace. A year passed. Then came Autumn Again, a romantic film that reunited them for the first time since the scandal. The announcement alone made international news. Instead of frenzy, there was anticipation. Reporters asked, "Aren't you afraid of reigniting old rumors?" She answered, "You can't reignite what never went out." Filming began in late September. Crew members described the atmosphere as magical. Between takes, they talked like old friends. "Rap," the director said. "You two didn't act. You remembered." When the film premiered, it was a sensation, not for gossip. Authenticity. Critics called their chemistry hauntingly honest. One review read, "You can't fake eyes that have already seen each other in both chaos and calm." At the film's closing press conference, a reporter stood up and asked the question everyone secretly wanted answered. "So after all this time, was it love?" Seung-ho looked at Chae Soo-bin. She smiled. "If it wasn't," he said softly. "Love has a strange way of pretending." The crowd laughed, but something deeper lingered in the air. Later that night, as they left the theater, she turned to him. "You didn't deny it this time," she teased. "Did it need to?" They walked into the night. After echoing down the boulevard, unbothered, unhidden. The next morning, the headlines were kinder than ever. Love story rewritten, Yoon-seok and Chae Soo-bin's on-screen reunion melts hearts. No scandals. No mockery. Just warmth. Even fans who once fought over them now posted tributes. Editing montages of their journey, from that fateful Sodakin to this red carpet redemption. Someone commented, "Maybe every misunderstanding leads us somewhere clearer." And for once, the internet agreed. Years later, long after the noise had settled, an interviewer visited them on the set of a charity project they were co-producing. "Do you ever think about that day?" the journalist asked. Min smiled. "Every time I open a can of soda." Seung-ho chuckled. "I told her we should have bought stock in the brand." They laughed, easy and genuine. The kind that needs no script. When asked what they'd learned from everything, Seung-ho paused. "That silence can be your language. That sometimes the world's misunderstanding becomes your proof of truth." Soo-bin nodded. "And that love, whatever form it takes, always outlasts gossip." Outside, rain began to fall. Soft and forgiving. Someone handed them a single can to share for a charity photo. They exchanged a knowing glance. Then raised it together. Flash. And just like that, the moment that once broke the internet found its peace. Every story begins with noise, and ends in silence. Between those 2 points, there are people, imperfect, curious, trying to live honestly under the heaviest light. To everyone who followed this story from its first rumor to its quiet resolution, thank you. Thank you for reading not to judge, but to feel. Thank you for staying when it stopped being about gossip and became about humanity. This piece isn't just about 2 actors or a single shared moment. It's about what happens when the world forgets that behind the headlines are hearts still learning how to be real. So thank you, to the readers who believe that empathy still matters. To the dreamers who understand that love can exist even in the glare of 1,000 lenses. And to everyone who remembers that the softest truths often speak loudest once the noise fades. When the cameras stop flashing and the rumors finally rest, all that remains is this. 2 people, 1 story. And a shared silence that means more than words ever could. Thank you for listening until the end. Thank you for seeing what was real.